Question is, does the Ahmadiyya Jamaat relate to Sufism?
To
Sufism.
Sufism.
That's right.
Now, what is Sufism? Do you know?
Well, I have very brief knowledge of Sufism. I just wanted to know if it...
No, but when you ask a question about Ahmadiyya Jamaat and Sufism,
Yes.
what message will be delivered to you if you don't know what Sufism is?
Well, my understanding of Sufism, it came after the advent of Sayyidina Muhammad, and it was, and because it was after the advent of the Holy Prophet, does it really relate to Islam itself, actually?
Can I help you in explaining Sufism first?
Please.
So that the answer becomes understandable by others, and you as well. Please sit down. You see, Sufism is in fact relates to all that is cryptic. Now, when a religion speaks of form of worship, it speaks of how you bear yourself, how you wash yourself, how you stand before God, and what you do and what you do not. This is a form of the religion, which is called Sharia or law. The Jews, for instance, paid such great emphasis on the law that according to Jesus Christ, ultimately, they wasted all their attention upon the shell and forgot to fill it with the spirit, which was more essential. So this is what led to St. Paul rejecting form altogether. And that is what has led Sufism in Islam to shift away from the path of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu to an imaginary world of their own, whereby they thought the form was not essential. So what they did was, they did not create a demarcation line between Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the prophets earlier, like St. Paul drew a line between Jesus Christ and all the prophets before him. But they said both should be kept. As far as Prophet Muhammad is concerned, he is fine, he is all right. But when he emphasized form, what he really meant was that you should go for the spirit. And they argued in a very strange way that if you have the spirit, for instance, if you drink the milk, why to keep the bottle? Now, this argument is fine. If, and there is a big if involved, you want to have the last of that milk and no more. If you must need to drink milk again and again and again, then you can't chuck away the bottle at all. Some bottle will be needed. So spirit cannot survive without form. Although it is not the form which is intended, it is the spirit which is intended. So that is why deviation began to occur in Islam between Sufism and Mullaism. Now, unfortunately, after around 300 years or so, this bifurcation became very broad. Both deviated to the different directions until they could not even communicate with each other. That link was broken. Sufis said the mullahs are wrong. We do not need to say the prayer the way it was said before. And the mullah said Sufis had abandoned Islam, and they believe in some spiritual experiences of theirs and call it Islam, of which they have no right. So that is why some Sufis were practically put to gallows and ultimately hanged to death, because their claims, their slogans were so mystic that the mullah could not understand them. And the mullah thought that it is a claim which totally negates Islam. Like Al-Hallaj Mansur, who was hanged to death by the mullahs, he went to the gallows crying till the last, Anal Haq, Anal Haq, Anal Haq. This is Sufism. I am the truth, I am the truth, I am the truth. Now if somebody says that to indicate that I have lost my own identity totally to the truth, you can't differentiate between me and God in the sense that I follow Him so totally that I have lost my independent identity, then it is not a shirk at all. It is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with it. This is the claim made by the Holy Prophet ﷺ himself and about him in the Holy Quran. Ma ramaita is ramaita walakin Allah rama. O Prophet of Allah, when you threw the handful of pebbles at the enemy, it was not you. It was God who did it. Is there any teachings of idolatry of 2-3 gods in that? Obviously, what was meant and will always be understood to be so was that the Holy Prophet had completely lost his own ego and submitted it to the higher will of Allah. So there is no need for any bifurcation of this faith into 2 different religions. If Sufism has a different entity than that of the Holy Prophet of Islam, then the moment you accept it, you negate the Prophet of Islam. If it has the same entity, then why any Sufism or any Mullahism at all? Then what you should return to is the image of the Holy Prophet of Islam, which was not split in the middle. He was a balanced person, so perfectly balanced that the Holy Quran gives the Holy Prophet this compliment, that he was a man who was inclined neither to this side nor to that side. He belonged neither to the east nor to the west. So with this poise and this perfect balance between right and wrong and darkness and light, you don't need to split yourself into 2 different personalities. Now, why Sufism began to become popular, particularly in Turkey, is a very important question. Also, it became very popular in USSR, for different reasons, of course. But in Turkey, it became popular because of Hanafism and Hanafi mullahs who became very strict on form. So there were Sufis who loved God, who really went for the spirit of religion. They drew some followings from underneath the mullahs to themselves and said, look here, what is needed is love of God, love of humanity. If you do not have this, then all your exercises are vain, meaningless. So leave the mullahs and come to me. Like Maulana Rome, for instance, a great Sufi. But never did he abandon saying prayers. This is the point which I'm coming to. So in the beginning, Sufism was absolutely right. But when the followers of Sufism began to see with squinted eyes and saw 2 images instead of 1, it was there that the damage was done, and from then on there was no coming back to the truth. Right? Thank you.